Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Friedman in the studio today, and I'm joined by my next guest, Greg Rush. Greg of Dunn Rush Company. Greg, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you here. We were talking a little bit before we came on the air about the merger and acquisition market and you guys' involvement. Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about your company and what you do?
Sure, that'd be great. Dunn Rush Company is a boutique investment banking firm. We're a registered broker-dealer. Most of what we do is merger and acquisition advisory. Most of that is with companies that are, or owners that are sellers. So we will raise capital, we'll do fairness opinions, valuations, we've done some buy-side work, but most of what we do is working with someone who's trying to get some liquidity out of the business, take some chips off the table.
What's typically referred to as sell-side M&A in the industry.
Exactly.
Okay,
And so, the size of the deals that we work on are usually under a couple $100 million, and most of the deals are between $10 and $100 million.
So we were talking a little bit, obviously the market has heated up over the last couple of years. It's been a very active marketplace for you guys. And what are you seeing in the marketplace? Are you seeing people that are having an interest getting their toe in the water? Or are you seeing a lot of deals getting done? It seems as though there's a lot of more in the way of intermediaries in the space. There's a lot of noise in the space. So how is a prospective seller of a business, where do they get started?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good time out there right now. There's lots of money out there available to do deals, lots of debt availability, the rates are low. That drives both private equity buyers and borrowing capacity for strategic buyers. I think a lot of companies have built up significant amount of cash and are looking to supplement their organic growth, which has started to come back in the last year or two, but is not as aggressive as they'd like. They'll supplement that with acquisitions on a targeted basis. And I think we certainly seen that. The volumes in 2014 of middle market deals, we consider deals under $250 million of value, kind of the lower end of the middle market. But there were more than 10,000 deals that were reported in 2014, and that was up about 17% from the prior year.
Pretty good uptick.
It is, and so I think it's been sort of on a steady increase for the last few years. It's been flat through the first quarter, and we're waiting on some of the second quarter stats. But I think we've seen an increase in valuations, and I think that tends to happen as the quality of the companies and their operating performance improves. But it's really across all industries. Different industries are valued at different ways, but I think all industries seem to be on the upswing.
Seeing that uptick. Now, the numbers that you cite, obviously, the 10,000 is a national figure.
Yes.
Is there any geographic differentiation in terms of that? Are there hot markets or other markets that follow the general economy, real estate within the marketplace, and what's going on? Is there?
Yeah, I think they do follow the general economy, and I think the valuations will be different for a technology or a software business than they would be for a distributor or in the real estate world. But I think really most of our business tends to be in the Northeast, but a lot of the relationships we have introduce us to opportunities that are in other parts of the country, and so we worked on the West Coast and the Southeast as well.
And there seems to be less and less in terms of desire to have, an add-on acquisition with a geographic proximity. It seems to be less and less of a variable in a lot of cases. I don't know if you find that or not. I mean, I think we've broken down sort of the travel barrier is a big deal to acquiring a company that's 700 miles away.
Well, it's interesting. The acquisitions would tend to be acquiring customers or a particular type of technology as opposed to necessarily, being something I've got to be
infrastructure
in a geography. Right. The barriers that have come down have really made it easier for international buyers to come in and do smaller and smaller transactions in the United States. So every process we run, regardless of the size of the company, tends to have active buyers involved in Europe. It's as easy for a company in Europe to participate in a process to potentially buy a company as it is for somebody in New York. And I think resources like electronic data rooms and those types of things have really made running the process a lot smoother and a lot faster.
Greg, if our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Either by phone or email. My email is just grush@dunnrush.com, and phone is 617-217-2718.